brought the smoke for you today. Talking to you, Derek.
Welcome back to Ithaca BJJ. Today we're doing something a little different. Instead of a technique video, we're showing some rolling from one of our evening classes. Oh, and that menacing gentleman at the beginning, well, that's the guy I like to call Bomber. We'll see him and me again at the end of the video because, well, he did call me out. But for now, let's have a little fun. Here, we see one of our purple belts, Brian, one of my favorite training partners, because you know what? This is a guy who I know, no matter what, things are going to be safe and chilled. So he's rolling with one of the white belts, kind of fooling around and making sure he allows him to work, which in my opinion is one of the responsibilities of the upper belts, letting the lower belts work and play around and learn in a safe environment. Let's watch. So as we see here, Brian is actually allowing this guy to kind of set things up. So instead of going for the armbar there, he decides to roll him over into his guard and starts working on the triangle to allow this kid to get a little bit of defense in. That is a good training partner. We're not here to kill each other. We're here to learn. And here we have a couple of white belts. The guy in the shorts, he forgot his pants. So I made sure I made plenty of fun of him in the beginning of the class. The other guy, Nolan, he's one of those white belts who comes in every week going, hey, I saw this cool thing on YouTube that I want to try out. And I'm always telling him, look man, stick to the fundamentals. Stick to the fundamentals. But then they show up and with all these leg entanglements. And hey, just let them have fun as long as they're being safe. And here we go. I just got to this interesting position, but I'm not sure what to do with it. And here's me and Brian. Here, we're just kind of playing around. I love to start on my feet, but not everyone wants to be there. So what am I doing here? You remember this from the Big Man Takedown video. I'm trying to set up this throw here. But Brian does a pretty good job fighting me. And in the end, what does he do? Yep, he chickens out and pulls guard on me. And I see him going for the Kimura there. And I take that as an opportunity to start setting up my over-under pass, which is one of my favorite passes. But Brian, knowing this is one of my favorite passes, he puts himself in a really good position to resist. And I make a big mistake here. Instead of finishing that pass like you're supposed to, I turned my back around and did this weird thing. And watch what happens. This is what happens when you're lazy. He takes my back. Don't beat me up in the comments. We're just having a little fun here. This is not a hard roll. But as you see, Brian's breathing heavy. And here's Professor Matt sort of playing around with one of the white belts. I call this the lion playing with his food. Matt just kind of plays around a little bit, lets this white belt get to some positions, and then he just flows with him. What you'll notice as you watch some of these rolling videos, you will see a number of the techniques that we talk about in our techniques playlist. You will see a number of those techniques played out here. For instance, We talked about this one when we talked about passing the half guard. And this is one of those nice fancy bolos. And we'll actually see my menacing purple belt bomber try the same thing on me later. But I have a little surprise for him when he does. Stick around. And remember to like and subscribe to continue to get this kind of content. So here comes a cool little finish here, and let this be a lesson to everyone rolling with lower belts. Professor Matt hits that Kimura, but he doesn't crank it. He knows he has it, and then he lets it go. Now here's Professor Matt with our brown belt, John. I like to call John the doctor, because John is one of the best chiropractors we have in this area. And he's basically fixed me multiple times, in his office and on the mat. There have been times when I've walked into the class and said, John, I've got this problem with my shoulder. John says, lay on the mat, let's take a look. And he hooks me right up, free of charge. But hey, don't come showing up to Ithaca BJJ looking for a free session with John. Doesn't work that way. So you'll notice here, this is something also from one of our recent technique videos. John is going to try that knee shield pass. But of course, well, Matt's the one who taught it to us, so he's hip to what John's trying to do. I get a lot of enjoyment out of watching these two. It's so smooth and so technical. Whenever I get in that position where John is, where I bury my head in the hip like that, when I try, like, for instance, an over-under pass, Matt has a wicked way of getting the head out of that position. He makes you want to move your head. So smooth, these two gentlemen. I don't know if you can tell, but I see a big smile on Matt's face and a big smile on John's face. That is a wicked counter to the butterfly. We haven't done a video on that yet, but that's a technique that Matt taught me a couple of years ago, and I swear, it has about a 95% success rate on all belt levels. Stay tuned, because we will be uploading that video soon. And here we have the second Matt in the class, Matt Knight, the purple belt, going against another brown belt, James. James is very technical and very persistent. This guy has a wicked knee cut pass. I have some videos of me and him rolling and him hitting that knee cut pass like a boss. I'll get some of that uploaded soon too. Matt Knight is also one of our technical guys who comes in, puts in power outlets where they need to be put in, sets up the security cameras. We have quite the crew here. And now we have Lisa and Brian. Let me tell you something. That lady there is 60 years old and weighs about 98 pounds soaking wet. And she's in here more than anyone else in this class. Unbelievable. She trains every day, multiple times a day. And here we are to the grand finale. Bomber the Menace. So we're starting out here. I'm playing around with the top of his head, playing around with his ear. And what does he do? He hits me with a wicked tripod sweep. And that's what I get for fooling around. And you see him hiding that arm there? Because I'm a Kimura hunter, and he knows it. And he's doing everything he can to keep me from getting that arm. And here he is, doing that move that Matt tried earlier, but I shut his butt down, go for the back, and then he shuts me down. And he's just laughing at me. So here, he's trying to flatten me out. I'm looking for legs. I'm looking for Kimuras. And at the end of the day, I believe he would have won on points if this was a real contest. And there he is, pumping his chest. That's all right, Bomber. I'll be back. Thanks again for joining us on Ithaca BJJ. And remember to like and subscribe for more content from Ithaca BJJ. And keep rolling.